All right. Well, good evening and welcome everyone. I'm Bette McCarthy. I'm the chair of the Old Kings Highway Historic District Committee, and I wish to call this meeting to order. Um, the meeting of the Old Kings Highway Historic District Committee is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable Government Access Channel. And in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, please make your presence known. All right. I guess no one else is recording the meeting. So, to all persons deemed interested or affected by the Town of Barnstable Old Kings Highway Historic District Act under Section 9 of Chapter 470, Acts of 1973 as amended, you are hereby notified that a hearing will be held tonight on the applications listed on the agenda for February 12th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. This meeting will be handled remotely, and we'd like to remind all applicants and audience members that we are an elected volunteer committee, and we follow the guidelines of the Town of Barnstable Old Kings Highway Historic District Act. So any applicant or any interested party who's aggrieved by a decision that this committee makes, they have a right to appeal that decision to the Old Kings Highway Regional Historic Committee. We ask that during this evening's proceedings, all cell phones be turned off and conversations other than those before the committee take place outside of this remote meeting. When an applicant is called, we ask that the applicant and all the interested parties identify themselves. And lastly, as best practices for meetings that are held remotely, where we may not be able to visually identify who's speaking, we ask all committee members and participants to identify themselves before making any motion or comments. Online audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of the hearing can use the raised hand button to notify the chair. And dial-in audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of the hearing should press *9 on their phones to notify the chair. So all participants will be muted, and you must be recognized by the chair in order to participate. So our first order of business is to take a roll call vote of the committee. So Leslie Wallace, I know Leslie had asked to be excused for the evening. Ryan Caholen?
Present.
Thank you, Ryan. Wendy Schuck?
Here.
Thank you, Wendy. And Bette McCarthy, present. All right. So our first order of business for this evening is the application. It's a continued application for Susan and Richard Bloom, 2644 Main Street, Barnstable, map 258, parcel 006. And it was built in 1840. And they are requesting installation of flush-mounted solar system on their west side. And I believe the Blooms have requested a continuation until the March 12th meeting. So in that case, we need a motion to approve that continuation.
This is Wendy Schuck, and I move to continue the certificate of appropriateness application for Richard and Susan Bloom, 2644 Main Street, Barnstable, map 258, parcel 006, built 1840, to March 8th at 6:30 to the meeting that will be held remotely.
Ryan Caholen, I'll second.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Brian Caholen,
Aye.
Bette McCarthy. Aye. All right. So our next application is for James Walsh of 66 Marston's Lane, Barnstable, map 350, parcel 350, parcel 011/002. And that was built in 1986 to construct a barn and to install a fence. So we need to open a public hearing for this application.
Okay, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
All right.
Ryan Caholen, I'll second.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Brian Caholen,
Aye.
and Bette McCarthy. Aye. So now we need the applicant to discuss their project. So is Mr. Walsh available?
This is Thomas Moore representing Jim and Francis Walsh with respect to the 12 by 32 barn that they're looking to add, along with a 36 by 36 horse paddock. The barn, it's a 2-stall barn for 2 horses, tack room in between. It's a board and batten siding structure. Again, it's 12 by 32, 13 feet tall. It'll be all cedar, board and batten siding, and same thing with the trim. The fencing, it's a 36 by 36 paddock that you see on the site plan with a metal type of a fencing around the paddock. On the site plan, the building itself is 50 feet from the rear property line and 50 feet from the left side property line too. Believe this has been approved by the health department, and it's a simple structure. Be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
All right. Thank you. Wendy, would you like to discuss?
Yeah, sure. So the board and batten siding, will that be painted or is that going to be a natural color?
It'll be a Cape Cod gray stain.
Okay. And the trim white, is it going to be white?
The trim will match the gray stain.
Okay, great. Now, what about the doors? What are you putting in there for doors?
We'll put in doors that are similar to the door that you see that goes into the tack room, where the bottom half of it they'll be able to open the top half of the door for the horses to be inside and get some air out and then just to close it up.
Okay.
So it'll be similar to that door in the middle, just bigger.
Okay, so the dimensions that we see here are correct. So those will be the dimensions of the door.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the doors for the stalls themselves they're the 8 feet wide.
Okay.
It'll be a double type of a door.
Oh, a double door.
Yeah.
Meaning double top to bottom or double side to side?
Both.
Both. Okay. So it's like 2 of those tack room doors, sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Right? Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about your paddock. So I see that they're using like round pen fencing, which is, in my experience, typically used for, training horses and not so much turnout. This is a residential area, so I can only, compare and contrast to what's there. And, this just doesn't fit in the area. We don't see metal fencing typically, especially in that neighborhood. We usually see the white picket. So from my view, I don't think this fencing for that area is appropriate. And I think that's just kind of a challenge you're going to have putting a horse barn right in a residential neighborhood. So Yeah.
That it's what they were looking to do, because I
Yep.
think Frances, and I'm not sure if she's on the Zoom call or not, but yes, it's her two horses, I believe, that she's going to be putting in there. So it's certainly something we can talk about as far as the fencing.
Yeah. And I saw also on the site plan, if we could pull that up, let's see. So what happens with the manure? You're gonna put it in a trailer?
Yeah, I
Or is
believe
that,
that's what I believe that's what's going to happen, and it'll be taken care of. Yeah, I'm not sure of how often it's taken care of, but I'm sure it's done on at least a weekly basis, if not more.
yeah. Yeah, I'm just worried more, like if there's structures or anything, that's probably a health department thing. And what about the hay? Is that gonna be in a building or are you gonna cover it with tarps or what happens?
I'm not positive of that. I would say that it may go into that tack room or in each one of the stalls. So I'm not positive of where they're going to do what they're going to do with the hay.
Yeah, because they have a designated hay storage area outside there on the map. I don't know if you can,
Yes.
like 10 by 12. So,
I don't think it's an actual building itself. And I think that's just an area. I'm not sure how they're going to cover it.
okay. All right. Leslie, I mean, Bet, that's it for me for now.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Wendy. Ryan, would you like to make some comments on this proposal?
Given the location, the setbacks from 6A, I mean, I can't dispute the fact that some people might not like to look at horses, but I can tell you that the barn structure, I find very appropriate. And I think that as far as the paddock fencing, it appears like it can be moved around. It can be replaced depending on whatever relationship you want to have with your neighbors or butters. But I think given the property where it is, I don't take any exception.
Okay. Does that conclude your remarks, Ryan? Yes.
That does.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, this is Bette McCarthy. I consider the structure appropriate, blending in well with the neighborhood. So I don't have any issues regarding the barn at all. The fence, I tend to have some concern about the metal fence, and actually would prefer to see a wooden type of fence there that you often see in a lot of the areas where they have horses, and with a barn, I would much prefer to see a wooden type of fence rather than that metal one. There is, I have a question about some of the vegetation along Marston's. There's some trees and evergreens. Are they going to remain or are they going to be removed?
They will remain, because in the summertime that is a kind of a whole green wall there. So the intent is to keep that. We are going to be coming back to you for an addition onto the house, which will take some of that away, but the intent is to keep as much as we can along Marston's Lane.
Okay. All right. Well, with the vegetation hiding it, my concern is a little less about the metal fencing, but I still have some concerns about that.
I think that's something we could certainly talk to my clients about, what that fencing could be. Yeah, this is what they presented to me as far as what they were looking for. We can certainly discuss it and even table that piece of it possibly to kind of come to some kind of a resolution.
Yeah. I know on Commerce, we have some barns and they recently put, some fencing in, and it's a wooden type of fence, and it's, in my estimation, it's a lot more appropriate. But all right, well, let's see if there are any members of the public wishing to make any comments regarding this application.
Chair, this is Erica Brown. It looks like Adam would like to make a comment. Adam?
Yes, I believe my mic is on. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You raised the question of vegetation. We're in the back corner where it looks like it's going to be.
This will be in our backyard.
Yeah, sort of, if we're partial, and I'm concerned about the tree line there. Is there any plans you can tell us about the tree line there? What's left of it? They're going to remove any of that, or will we have some buffer there?
There's from the back of the proposed barn is a 50-foot buffer, so I don't think there's any intention to take anything away from back there.
Okay, and the other question I have is about the structure. How many stalls are in it?
Two.
Two.
Okay.
I can ask a question. My name's Nancy. Currently, there is no one living there. So will these owners be residing at this property?
Yes, they will.
I see. Full time?
I'm not sure full time, but they are going to be adding on to the house, so I suspect it will be full time.
Right.
Well, I would guess then when they're not here, what would they do with the horses?
I would assume if the horses are going to be there, they're going to be there.
So it's the question is the various, with a trailer them in, for instance, for coming down for the weekend, then take them back out. And the question would be, is the horses ever going to be left?
My understanding, they'll be there full time.
Are there other animals intended at all? Chickens or something else? Do we know?
No.
Okay. And you said this has been approved by the health department already, so we know about the sanitation and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah.
And
That's
could
correct.
you repeat, I didn't quite get what you said about the manure, where it's going to be and how is that handled?
I think, Frances, if I think she's maybe on the line, if she wants to answer that question. She has to unmute
Frances?
herself.
Yeah, I was going to say, Francis, it looks like you're muted if you would like to unmute yourself.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Now we can.
Oh, great. My name is Frances Walsh. I'm James's wife, and I'm the one with the two horses. And yes, we'll be living on the property when the horses are there. Right now, my brother-in-law lives there. You don't see much of him because he comes and goes at odd hours for work. We are planning on doing an addition because the house is very small. The manure setup is going to be in a dump trailer. It's going to be removed off the property at least once a week. And the horse fencing is round pen panels, which is used for turnout. But if I need to go to wooden fencing because that's what folks want, I can do that. It's just I have panels from where they were before. So I was planning on using them there.
I don't think we have much concern about that. Is there any plan in the future? And boarding, it's not room enough to board other animals, is it?
No, I'm too old for that. I like my two. I like to deal with my two. I just want to have the two that I've got.
Well, I'm a horsewoman myself, although I haven't ridden in years. So I love horses. My biggest concern, and I know the board has their concerns, and I agree the building is lovely. The barn looks beautiful. Is that we maintain the privacy that we have in our backyard with the arborvitaes that are there. And I think 50 feet is a good distance. So
Yeah,
We're not looking to take any trees down. If you knew where I came from, you'd be shocked that I'm moving to where this place is. We had a 1,500-foot driveway, and we were surrounded by a stream, and we could see nobody. So we don't plan on removing anything that opens stuff up. I kind of want to leave everything the way it is.
Mhm.
So that was my plan. And I know the trees that you're speaking of,
Yeah.
and we want to actually add more.
That would be nice. There is a
So-
lot of storm damage done to that property that was not maintained for years and years.
Yeah.
I imagine you're going to have to get rid of some of that to put this barn there.
Well,
No, I think
it's 66 is next. I don't know if you're talking about 50 or 66 because
Yeah, they're both, I know.
this
was on
side
both
by each.
sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gene Iverson was the organic farmer that lived at
Yeah.
66.
Oh, we knew Jean.
Yeah, so that lot is pretty open, and then she's got there's like a half dozen arborvitaes up against that fence in the back.
Yep.
We want to add to that, heading toward, down Marsden's Lane, if you will, not
Yes.
toward 6A.
Yes.
Um,
The
but in the-
Morrissey property has no privacy from your property except for what's a
Wooden
fence? A
fences.
wooden fence. What do you call it?
Right.
Stockade.
Stockade. Thank you.
right.
So that would be nice for his sake, but
Right, and we've spoken to him already.
Okay.
The older man that lived, Mr. Morrissey, we've spoken to him about either putting up a fence with the arborvitaes in the front of it or just putting up a higher fence. And he is okay with either.
okay.
Okay.
All right. I would say our only other concern would be, I don't mind the smell of horse manure. As a matter of fact, and being a horsewoman, I kind of like it. Not that I want to be smelling it while I'm barbecuing in my backyard,
Sure.
but
Sure.
so we'll just, make sure that is kept an eye on and
Oh, yes, that's like I said, it's gonna come off the property at least once a week, if not more. Because I like my things tidy. I don't like everybody living in a mess. I'm very careful about that. And it's just better for the animals and it's better for the people.
well, I hope so. And our only other concern is your property is a little bit higher than ours. There is a slope that comes down into our backyard. And on really, really bad years where we have a lot of rain, the first couple of years we lived here back in 2015, we had several nor'easters, tremendous amounts of snow.
Yeah.
We had water in our basement from it. Hasn't been a problem since, but we do get runoff down that slight slope from where you are. And I guess that would be the only thing that we were thinking about, what possibly sort of runoff problems might happen in terms of wastewater and that kind of thing. But
So
it's been looked at.
yeah, we the guy who's gonna do the siting of it, like finishing off the land to get with to put in the area where the barn would go.
Yeah.
He worked for the Big Dig. He's a heavy equipment operator.
Yeah.
And we had similar issues where we used to live because we were near wetlands. So there was
Okay.
a lot of kind of making the land go a certain way so things run a certain way. It's also really important to put down a mix of bluestone
Yeah.
and mason sand
Drainage. Yeah.
for drainage. That's huge. And using appropriate bedding in the stalls, which is twofold. It helps with absorbency and odor control.
Yeah, okay. Now, the planning board, I'm just going to question the board here for a second. Does another meeting need to go to the planning board on this, or are you guys?
What we deal with is just the design and the appropriateness of the design and the blending in with the neighborhood.
Got it.
Those are the issues. Building and all of that's under entirely separate.
And has that hasn't occurred yet? That meeting with the,
No, they wait until the Old Kings Highway makes their decision, and then that proceeds from there.
okay, thank you, Beth.
Okay.
Got it.
I think that's it for us, right?
I don't have anything, I don't think.
No, I
Thank you.
think, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome to
for your
neighborhood.
comments.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Actually, when would this start? I mean, approximately, do you have a date in mind? For the summer, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we got to wait for the weather to clear up and the ground to soften up. So probably not until spring. Like the new spring. Spring is not what spring used to be. Spring happens now, like in May. So, yeah. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be April, May.
Okay.
Okay.
I won't plan any backyard
Events.
parties until it's finished construction.
All
Anyway,
right.
okay.
All right, thank you. Committee, do you, let's see, is there any other public people wishing to comment on this? Erica?
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone else raising their hand to speak to this item at this time.
All right, thanks, Erica. Committee, are there any other comments that you'd like to make?
I mean, I'd like to see a plan with the actual doors that are gonna be on there, because those doors are large and I think they're a prominent feature in the building. And then I'd also like to know what fencing, because you know, I don't think that fencing that they proposed is appropriate for the area. You know, I get on farms, you know, round pens are used all the time, but we have to look at what's around there. And I don't think that metal fencing is appropriate. So, you know, I don't know if a continuance is the right thing to come back with more details on the fencing and specifics on the doors for the barn. So that's
Can
my
I ask a question about the doors?
Yep.
Are doors required? Because my guys live in run-in sheds. So what a run-in shed is basically a three-sided structure with an opening in the front. And they're allowed to come and go as they please. It reduces anxiety and behavioral issues. If you lock horses in, they tend to not really like that. So that's how they've always been. I don't know that Tom knew that, but I wasn't planning on dooring off the front. I was planning on leaving that open so they could come and go as they wish. They'd be in a paddock. They'd empty into a paddock, obviously.
Right. And
They're
so
not going
then
to be running around loose.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it just helps them with movement and their mental health if they cannot be stuck inside all the time.
Yeah.
So that's how they've always lived. And
Yeah. It's a good question because, you know, we do a lot of barns, garages, things that have doors and you know, this is a run-in shed.
mhm.
I don't know that it would make a difference. I'm just trying to think. I don't know what the rest of the committee thinks. It's a different sort of a different animal, if you will, you know.
And that fence is strong enough to, if no one was around, it couldn't get out. It doesn't look
Nope.
sturdy.
I've used wooden fences and I've used cow panel fence, like the kind that's like the metal little squares. They call it cow fencing. This to me is the best because not only is it impervious for the horse to chew on or break through, it's also movable. It's on footers. It's on these big footers. So you can actually move it around when you need to. If I put in, you know, standard, you know, post and rail, I can do that, but then that becomes permanent, stationary, and, you know, and it requires maintenance, which if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. These don't require any maintenance at all.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah, I
just
get it. I mean, I'm a horse person too. We've had round pens. But you know, our job here is really the aesthetics from the outside, right? And we have to look at you know, what the appearance of this property is going to be like, given the context of the broader neighborhood that you're in. And, you know, we just don't see metal fences like this around there. I mean, it doesn't blend in at all. And that's why, not that, and I appreciate the functionality, you know, of the round pen fencing, but, you know, it's our job really to step back and look at, you know, what's best for the whole area and the appropriateness.
And also with the country club across the street, they're considered an abutter, aren't they? The Comaquid Golf Club?
Yeah, I don't know. I would think so. Yeah.
Costs a pretty penny to join that place.
Yeah.
Saying,
are there?
I don't know if they've been informed of this or. But
Yes, they did receive an abutters notice just like you.
Okay.
They were a part of that. That's actually at the end of the application. It has the abutters list there.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
And I believe there's HOAs in that neighborhood too, right? You have HOA?
No, we don't. Well, we're not a part of one.
Nope.
Yeah, 66 and 50 are not part of the HOA, was my
Okay, got
understanding.
it. Got it. Okay.
But it also looks
right.
like Ryan would like to make a comment. Ryan, if you want to
Yeah.
unmute yourself.
Sure. I've been doing my best to bite my tongue. We're like, if I'm wrong, someone tell me. We are going way beyond the scope of the purpose of this committee in this meeting. Way beyond. We have to spend a half hour talking about where the manure is going to go and where the hay is going to go. And I get that there are some valid concerns here, and I get that, but I'm sorry, but I cannot spend any more time talking about this subject. So if we're going to take a vote, let's take a vote. If it's going to come back, let's come back. But we could spend all night talking about this topic that, I'll be honest, this board is challenged to measure the historical integrity, not the aesthetics.
Okay, forgive me,
Historical
Ray.
integrity. So, again, I'm not trying to make enemies here, but what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
All
And I
right.
respectfully disagree, but okay.
all right. I think the important thing, this is Beth speaking, and I think the important thing is to hear everybody's concern, and neighbors definitely have concern if there are abutters. So I'd like to speak, with Mrs. Walsh. Would you be agreeable, since we have 3 people on the committee this evening, would you be agreeable to continue this for our next meeting and possibly entertain the possibility of a wooden fence instead of the one that you've proposed?
Sure.
Yeah. Or PVC, right? Or I mean at AZAC or something, right? That looks like
Whatever,
wood. Yeah.
yeah, whatever is gonna, I mean, the thing I love about 6A, I used to live in the crow's pasture. My grandfather bought 17 acres back in the 30s, and we lived off grid up there for many years. And the thing about 6A that makes it great is what you guys do. So I don't want to do anything that's going to make that not look like the old 6A. I'm willing to make some changes there if I have to. I just have to look into what the different products are and what's going to be
Sure.
agreeable for everybody and safe for the critters. So
Chair, this is Erica Brown. Francis, the next meeting is February 26th. Do you think that will be enough time to look into that? Or would you
Yeah.
like to continue until March 12th?
what day of the week is February 26th? Is it a Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, Feb 26 should work.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Wendy, if you want to make a motion to continue this till the 26th?
Can I jump in for
Absolutely.
a second, please?
Sure.
Could we get a vote on the building itself and then continue for the fencing itself? It seems like the building is, we're pretty agreeable on the building itself, and it may be more the fencing that, could we get an approval for the building and then come back to you with the fencing?
So, point of order, this is Erica Brown. We can bifurcate the application if the committee chooses to do so.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. I don't have, this is Beth McCarthy. I do not have a problem splitting the application, separating the barn from the fence. So, Mrs. Walsh, is that agreeable with you?
Sure.
To do?
Yep, sure.
Okay.
Sorry, another point of order, Erica Brown. Wendy, we're gonna need a motion to bifurcate and agree to bifurcate the application.
Oh, okay. That's a new one.
Yep, and then we'll need a motion to accept the building and then a motion to continue the fence.
Okay.
We have 3 motions going on.
All right. So do my best on the bifurcation. If I forget anything, Erica, just chime in. Yeah, okay, great. So this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to bifurcate the application for James Walsh, 66 Marston's Lane, Barnstable, map 350, parcel 011/002, built 1986, to bifurcate the approval of the building separately from the fencing. That work?
All right.
Yep.
May we have a second? Have a second.
Brian Caholen, I'll second.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Brian Caholen,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. Aye. All right. So now that the two are separated, I think we need to close a public hearing on the barn. Is that correct, Erica?
Correct, Beth.
Okay. All right. May we have a
So
motion?
I would go ahead and actually continue the fence first. And then we can
all right.
close the public hearing for the barn specifically. And then,
Okay. All right.
Okay, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to continue the certificate of appropriateness application for James Walsh, 66 Marston's Lane, Barnstable, map 350, parcel 001/002, built 1986, for the fencing only.
Brian Caholen, I'll second.
Thank you. And a roll call vote. Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Brian Caholen,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. Aye. All right. So then we need let's
Close
see.
the public hearing, right?
point of order to close the public hearing first for the
Yeah.
barn.
Yeah.
Just in your motion to close, just mention the barn, Wendy.
Okay,
Yep,
very
yep,
good.
yep.
All right.
Okay, yep, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to close the public hearing for the barn only, for James Walsh, 66 Marston's Lane, Barnstable, map 350, parcel 011/002, built 1986.
Brian Caholen, I'll second.
All right. And a roll call vote on that. Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Brian Caholen,
Aye.
Beth McCarthy. Aye. All right. And now we need a motion to approve the barn
barn.
structure.
Okay, got it. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for James Walsh, 66 Marston's Lane, Barnstable, map 350, parcel 011/002, built 1986, for the construction of a barn. As
Brian
submitted.
Caholen, I'll second.
As submitted.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Brian Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. Aye. All right. So we will see you at our next meeting to
For the
Talk
fence.
about the fence.
Right.
Yep.
Mhm.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very good. All right. Our next application this evening is for Sandra Bilbrey, trustee, 10 Second Way, Barnstable, map 319, parcel 005, built in 1999, to change the color of the house from barn red to Sherman-Williams 7060 gray, and to change the color of the front door from white to Sherman-Williams 7585 red. Okay, we now need a motion to open the public hearing.
Sure, this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to open the public hearing.
Brian Caholen, I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck, Wendy
Aye.
Schuck, and Bette McCarthy, aye. All right, so we need the applicant. Is Miss Bilberry there?
This is actually her daughter, who I
Okay.
reside in the house.
All right. And
This is
Just
Jonathan Gilmore.
Yeah, this is my husband, Jonathan Gilmore.
okay,
So yeah, so basically what we're doing, we repainted, we're basically wanting to change the red color of the house to the gray there. The shutters will stay black, the trim will stay white, and the door will change from white to red.
okay. All right. I guess that's pretty straightforward. Wendy, do you have any comments regarding this?
I think the changes in color are appropriate. I think the house will look beautiful. No other comments.
All right. Ryan?
No exceptions. I think it's appropriate.
Okay.
Thank you.
And this is Bette McCarthy. I feel the change of the color is appropriate and will blend well with the home. Are there any members of the public wishing to discuss the change of the color of this home?
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone from the public raising their hand at this time to speak to this item.
All right. Well, let's then close the public hearing.
Yep. This is Wendy Schuck, and I move to close the public hearing.
Ryan Caholen, I second.
Thank you, Ryan. And a roll call vote. Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Wendy Schuck.
Aye.
And Bette McCarthy, aye. So now we need a motion to approve this.
Sure. This is Wendy Schuck, and I move to approve the certificate of appropriateness application for Sanda Bilbrey, trustee, 10 Second Way, Barnstable, map 319, parcel 005, built 1999 as submitted.
All right,
Ryan Caholen, I'll second.
thank you. And a roll call vote. Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Wendy Schuck.
Aye.
Bette McCarthy, aye. All right. So the application is approved.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you
good
very
night.
much for your patience. Okay.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Good night now. All right. We do not have any minor modifications. We do not have any extensions or other. So our other items on the agenda is to approve the minutes. And the first set of minutes would be for January 8th, 2025.
I had a couple just, I think one's a typo and one is a missing word, just little minor things.
Oh.
So Erica, on page 3, under committee discussion, you know, my part of the discussion at the very end there, it says will need to occur to make the insulation work. I think that's supposed to be installation, maybe? I think?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, was that the only one? I think I had one other.
Autocorrect.
Yeah. And then on, let's see, 35 Cedar Crest, the committee discussion. Again, my discussion there kind of in the middle where it says noted that the garage, I think that should be door painted.
Okay.
Will probably be, yeah, I think the door should be inserted there.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was it for the 8th. And
All right.
that was it for
And-
the 8th. I have something on the 22nd, but I'll wait.
Okay, we'll do those separately. All right.
Yeah.
The January 8th, I noticed for my comments, they were it just said bet and nothing else
Which application on there?
on page 6.
Page 6. Okay.
Oh.
I can go back and make sure I see if there was anything. Do we want to continue those minutes just so that if you did say anything, Bet, I can fill those in?
All right. We could continue that then. Do we need a motion? No?
Yeah, we would need a motion to continue it. I don't have them
Okay.
up in my thing right now. Let me just double check real quick. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Sorry. I usually don't bring up the minutes, so. You said it was on page 6, Bet?
Pardon me?
You said it was on page 6, correct?
I think it was page 6.
It is page 6. It's for the 425 Sandy Neck Road. And I did not put anything in there. So yes, please continue the minutes because I'll have to add in Beth's comments.
Okay. All right. So this is Wendy Shuck, and I move to continue the approval of the minutes from the January 8th, 2025 meeting to, do I have to put a date for when we'll approve it to, Eric?
No, you can just say will continue them.
Okay.
We'll
All right.
continue them.
Okay.
All right. And we need a roll call vote then.
Point of order, we need a second.
Ryan Caholen, I'll second.
All right. And then a roll call vote. Ryan Caholen,
Aye.
Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
and Beth McCarthy. Aye. All right. And the next minutes were for January 22nd, 2025.
Yes. I had one edit, and I didn't put the page number. I think it was the last page on, it was on the last page under the committee discussion. I think where it says Leslie clarified that it will be clapboard. I think that's supposed to be Wendy. And then below it where it says Wendy agreed with Wendy, that should be Leslie agreed with Wendy. See what I mean? Yeah, okay.
Yep, that's an easy fix. I can do that.
Yep.
All right. So then with that fix, we can then approve the minutes of January 22nd, 2025.
Yeah. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to approve the minutes from the January 22nd, 2025 meeting with the small edits noted, otherwise as submitted.
Ryan Caholen, I'll second.
Thank you, Ryan. And a roll call vote. Ryan Caholen.
I couldn't hear you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Aye.
There we
Okay,
go.
thanks. Wendy Shuck,
Aye.
Beth McCarthy, aye. So we are, I have the minutes approved. One set will be continued, one is approved. So our next meeting dates are February 26th and March 12th. No other business to conduct for this evening. We can call for a motion to adjourn.
Sure. This is Wendy Shuck, and I move to adjourn today's meeting Wednesday, February 22nd, 2025. I mean, February 12th, sorry, 2025.
Okay. Thank you. And a roll call vote. Ryan Caholen.
Aye.
Wendy Shuck.
Aye.
And Beth McCarthy, aye. Thank you all very much for your patience, and we will see you in 2 weeks.